Hey kids, Mr. and Fly here, hope you're well. Welcome back to the Man Cave, been a while since we've been in here. Now if you've been watching my videos of late, then you'll know that I've been out and about quite a bit of late on the old dirt bike. And I've had great fun on her throughout the summer, but I'm not likely to use her for a little while now. So what I've done is got her back home, I've given her a damn good clean, and now it's time to think about ongoing bike maintenance. And one of the most important things that you can do to your bike, even if you don't do any particular mechanical work, is to keep your chain in good condition. Now, as I say, I've been out and about on this machine. It's been sat outside for the best part of 2 weeks in all sorts of weathers, lots of rain and so on. It's even been driven through salt water. And as a result of all that, I'm afraid the chain has become pretty horrible. It's not particularly dirty, but if you have a look at these shots, you can see that actually there's a little bit of rust that's formed on the chain. Now, this is absolutely not what you want on a chain. It's quickly formed, it's just as I say, because it's been set outside in damp weather, and the salt water can't have helped either. There's a little bit of surface rust that's formed, so I'm quite keen before I sort of put her away a bit for the winter to actually get that cleaned up and get the chain back into a reasonable condition. So this video is a quick look at how I get a chain that's not looking good into something resembling reasonable condition. So stick around, stay tuned. I'll get myself some overalls on and let's get cracking. Okay, first thing to do then in this case is to get the bike up off the floor. Unfortunately, dirt bikes don't tend to come with centre stands. This one is no different. So what I've done is bought myself one of these scissor jack things. Here we go, which you stick underneath the bash plate and raise the bike that way. So just going to stick her up on there now. Okay, there's the bike up on the scissor jack, so I can rotate the rear wheel so I can get the chain okay. Now, cleaning chains is one of the messiest jobs that the motorcycle owner can get into, so make sure you've got plenty of newspaper around before you start getting into this job. This is where keeping old back coppers of MCN comes in very handy. Now, there are all sorts of ways to clean chains. I'm not saying that this is necessarily the best way, it's just the way that I do it. And also it depends on the condition of the chain and the sort of bike you've got as to how you go about doing it. But in this case, I'm going to absolutely douse it with chain cleaner after I've had a go at the rust on the chain with a very fine wire brush. So this is the wire brush that I've bought specifically for this job. It's a very soft one. It's got bristles, I think, that are made from brass. So it's going to be absolutely ideal for getting rid of this sort of surface layer of dust rust that's on the chain before we get into the job of actually cleaning and lubricating the chain proper. Okay, so first job in this particular case then is just to work my way around the chain very gently with this wire brush, getting rid of this surface rust. See if we just give it a gentle scrub on there, it does bring off that surface rust. It's really pretty superficial. It's not the sort of rust that's been forming over years of the bike sitting outside. It's just a week of it being in the rain is enough to do that. As I said before, probably the salt water didn't help. So I won't bore you with all this. I'll just work my way around the chain on this side, then I'll have a go at the other side, and then we'll get on to actually cleaning the inside of the chain and lubing her up. Right, I'm happy now that I've got all the surface rust off that I can that was just on the outside plates, as you saw. So now comes the messy part, which is to actually clean the tube. Now, clean the chain rather. Now I use this stuff, it's just called brake and chain cleaner. There's all sorts of manufacturers. This one's from Worth. I find it's quite good. The reason why I use this is because I also use the Worth lubricant, and it just strikes me as a good idea to use products from the same manufacturer. So I'm going to absolutely douse the chain now with this around here. To make sure that any crud comes out. Now the good thing about these specific chain cleaners is they obviously have a chemical in them that evaporates away once the cleaning has been done. So you use this basically to wash away any grit and so on that's within the chain, and then none of this residue is left because it evaporates away. And then what I'll do is show you how I go about lubing it. Okay, now as I mentioned, messy job, so time to get the old latex gloves on. This stuff is pretty hardcore. The other thing I use is one of these chain cleaning brushes. You can get it from any sort of Halfords or wherever, just to agitate the cleaner if required. Now, the chain itself isn't actually that dirty. It was just that bit of corrosion that I really wanted to remove. So that job's kind of done in that respect. But if you're going to do a job, you might as well do it properly. So let's get going with this. I say, I absolutely douse it. And this usually means that the bike's going to need another clean afterwards. In fact, let's be sensible about this. I don't want to get it all over the tyre if I can help it. Let's be a bit clever about this. Okay, in an effort to limit the mess slightly, I've just put a couple of plates behind here, just so that the lube goes on there rather than all over the wheel as I rotate it. When some of the lube will, of course, go on the wheel, which I don't mind, but I might as well limit it if I can. And already we can see all that crud washing out of there. And you can see why you need a lot of newspaper. Okay, and then a last rinse again. Lovely job. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just let that sit for 10 to 15 minutes, just so that some of that cleaner can dry off, and then I'll show you the next stage. Okay, so it's 10-15 minutes later, and it's already looking much better, the chain. The cleaner's had the chance to mainly evaporate off. So what I'm going to do now is move into the lube phase. But what I'm going to do now is something slightly different to maybe what you've seen before. What you'd normally do before you lube a chain is ride the bike for 10-15 minutes just to warm the chain up so the links are nice and warm, so that when you put the lubricant in, it penetrates deep within the links and gets to where it needs to be. I'm not going to actually ride the bike now because I've got all the paper out and everything. So what I'm going to do instead is warm the chain up in situ. And what I'm going to use to do that is my bike dryer. So I've got one of these things. I don't know if you've seen these before. They're brilliant for actually drying your bike off, but it has a built-in heater and it blows out air that's maybe a little bit warmer than a hairdryer, but it's not so hot that it's going to do any damage. It's not like it's a heat gun. So I'm just going to use this the next 3 or 4 minutes just to go around, warm up all the links, make sure that absolutely all the brake and chain cleaner is out of the chain, and then it'll be nicely warmed for the lube. Okay, wow, hot work this. So that's great. So I've just been at that for the last 5-10 minutes, and I can actually physically feel that the chain is nice and warm. So I'm pretty sure all the cleaner is dried out now. So time to get on with the lube. Again, as I mentioned before, I use the Worth stuff. It's dry, so it sort of ends up. It's one of those ones that puts a sort of a waxy coating on the chain and protects it that way, rather than putting lots of oil on that flings off. So that's what I like to use. I've got a couple of cans of it. I've been shaking it for some time already, and really, you know, I don't need to teach you how to do this. You basically just spray it on the chain. Okay, again, don't skimp with the lube. Just go for it. Now this stuff does actually dry on the chain, so I like to make sure I get plenty on. I'm going into the top of the links, just so it sort of sinks down as it goes around the sprockets. And also you just want to make sure you've got the chain thoroughly covered with it. Okay, looking good. Much better. So there we have it. That's how I go about at least cleaning the little chain on the CRF when it's looking a little bit rusty. Takes maybe half an hour, but I think it's well worth doing. And it's one of those things, if I see a rusty chain on a bike, it just makes me think that the owner hasn't looked after it. So I don't want to fall foul of that one myself. So hope that's been of interest to you. Until next time, this has been the Missenden Flyer. Cheerio.